So thanks, Nick, for showing up, mate. I know that your time is extraordinarily valuable, that you are wall-to-wall clients, and taking the time out to share with us is a real privilege and a real honour. So thank you for being with us. You just quickly want to tell a story of how come we know each other?
Well, quickly, it's actually a long story because it goes 34 years, which is more than half my
Wow.
active life.
Wow. There you
back,
go.
back to 1988. Yeah.
Wow.
And
1988. It's funny how we look at things. You know the date and the time, right? I just go, oh, it's a long time.
it was in August of 1988, by the way, as well. And that experience just happened like it was yesterday. It's so vivid in my life, in my mind,
Yeah.
because it just made such a big imprint and really set me on fire, for a passion for personal growth that's continued
Uh-huh.
on to today. And
Cool. Well,
yeah, back.
whilst you say that I made a big difference, it was really you turned up at a course wanting to be different. So I happen to be the teacher, and now we kind of coach each other, which is a fantastic thing. It's kind of you gone so far with your knowledge that I just can't help but be wanting to listen to what you've got to say. I think for me, one of the great gifts in life is that we coach each other, and it's proof that everyone needs a coach no matter how far they go. And what you've got to say, I find enormously valuable. So, we talk about a win-win. Um,
Yeah,
Absolutely spectacular.
well, you and I, we both walk the talk. We live, breathe, and sleep this work about creating
Yeah.
a best life that we can and being at our best. And that's what I
Mm.
think you and I have in common strongly is this passion for self-actualization, for being at our best and living our life fully.
Yeah, pretty amazing concept. I blame being a woodwork teacher for that because as a school teacher, I had no real idea, but I was kind of lucky that the kids were wanting to do stuff. And so I had to figure out how to get across to the kids how to do things. And had I been teaching English or maths or whatever, I think I'd have been a lost cause. And those very formative years, it's stuck with me. I can know everything on the planet, but if I can't convey it in a way that enables people to pull it off in their own life, well, it's knowledge. It's not wisdom. It's just information. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
and
I
you're the
think,
same. I think being an athlete, that's the same for you. It's kind of like you can read the books about how to do your sport or your thing, but you can't spend your life reading how to swim. You kind of got to get in the pool.
yeah. So we say information is not transformation. And
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
so I've always been more of a participant than a spectator. And as
yeah,
I've represented Australia in 4 world championships and always was pushing that front edge of what's the potential here? How fast can I go? And then after I
yeah.
retired as an athlete, I turned that same hunger inside. And that's what I love about personal growth is like it's an inner frontier. It's like, what's the human potential? How
Yeah.
open can my heart be? How much love can I have? How alive can I be? How much of an impact can I make in the world? Just an inner game now. It's just shifted fields.
Yeah, in fact, I think that transformation was kind of like as an athlete, there you were working on the outer game. It was the working on the inner game that gave you the increase in your performance. That
Yeah.
you started running personal bests when you started working inside, didn't you?
Yeah, so I was doing all the right things before I met you. I was training twice a day, running 200 kilometers a week. I went 3 years without missing a day's training. And yet
Oh,
I had anxiety and chronic fatigue. And I was just like, probably overtraining, running myself into the ground. And
yeah,
one of the things that I realized now in my 60s is that you actually get fit in the recovery.
that's right.
and so now I train 3 days a week and I'm having a lot more fun. but really, yeah, the big shift was realizing that success and happiness is really an inner game thing. And my focus was all on the outside. You know, I was at the Institute of Sport in Canberra, and I was training with all the top athletes in the world, and we were all gunning away at it, doing all the stuff. But I had
Mm.
no idea what was happening inside me. It just was unexplored territory. And
Yeah.
really, I didn't. It was like playing a game basketball and not understanding the rules, and then keep getting fouled off the court. You know, like I put all
Yeah.
the hard work in, and I thought the answer was just to keep on trying harder. And I just kept on running harder and harder until I just ran myself into the ground. And then you came
Yeah.
along and woke me up to like, hey, there's a whole inner game here. And how about change your attitude? And so that's, you know, as you know, I started telling myself that running could be fun and easy, which was a new
Mm.
concept to me. And, and I started to run faster on less training. And
Yeah.
you know, all my competitive athletic friends, they all got fascinated by what the hell is Nicholas doing? He's running faster and he's doing less training. So then they
Yeah.
all wanted to do your course too, as you know. And so
Yeah.
I started organizing your courses down in Melbourne. And that's how I
Yeah.
got into personal growth at this level a long
Which
time
is
ago.
much the same as me. Is like, you know, obviously I wasn't running, but when I first went and did a personal development course, I thought if I don't get into this and if I
Mm,
don't surround myself with it, it's just going to wash off. I'm the kind of person who needs to be deeply involved, or it's not going to work or happen. And I knew that the only way to
yeah,
do that was to teach it. And I knew that the only way I was actually going to learn it was to teach it. Because, you know, you stand up in front of a class and go to explain something. If it doesn't make sense up here, well, it's never going to make sense in the words. And, you know, that'd be a disaster. So I kind of knew that it was dive in or not get there.
yeah. And I don't think you're unusual in that, because the reality is, you know, this is a consciousness. It's a state of awareness. It's about being the master of our own destiny and not getting into victim consciousness, which so much of our society runs on. That if you're not involved in a community that's conscious and growing, then you're just in everyday victim conscious, you know, society,
Yeah.
and you're going to go back to sleep, you know. So
Yeah.
being teaching, it's the
It's
best
a
way to learn it, isn't it? So, you know,
Teaching is the best way to learn. I'm going to give you an example of that. I run into clients all the time. You know, we've taught hundreds of thousands of people, as have you, all over the world. But the fascinating thing is you can bump into somebody that you taught a year or two ago. And for me, what they say is, oh, Paul, you know, that course was great. I'm really just about to get into meditation. I think you've got no idea. You know, I'm trying to fit meditation into my life means you actually miss the whole point. That until it's a fundamental building block in your life, then
yeah,
you're a spectator
yeah,
wishing that you were more deeply involved.
yeah. Well, I know there's other people around as well that would be contacting you saying, "I did your course 30 years ago, like me," and I got a message from a guy in Estonia just about a month ago who said, I didn't know his name, and I was inviting him to do something for free on the website, and he said, I actually did your course in 1999. And I use
Yeah.
what you taught me every day, and I'm forever grateful for it. You know, and I have
Yes.
people are out there not knowing even the difference that we've made in their lives, and
Oh,
that
we don't
lights
know.
me up.
You know. Yes, it's kind of like what fuels me. You know, I'll be turning 70 soon, and you know, as usual, I don't know really when, but soon. And it's a fascinating thing to see that when I think about retirement, you know, people talk about when are you going to stop, and I go probably when I drop, mate, because there's this
Yeah,
compelling urge to explore and to know and do more and yeah,
yeah,
get it across to yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, we forget all that stuff in the past. But you know, in my case, 37 years of teaching. There's a bit of there's a few people out there who reckon I'm a nutcase, and there's a few who reckon the opposite. So
yeah. I think it's like having this great cricket bat and wanting to show people my cricket bat. It's like, here's this amazing thing, like, and I just so passionate about sharing with people, like, look at the potential. And the saddest thing is seeing so many people struggling with because they don't understand about how to master their inner game. And
Yeah.
so that just motivates me so much to get out there,
Yeah.
get the message out about.
We
Sorry,
lost you
I'm not
just
sure
after
why.
the cricket bat analogy.
Okay, right.
So people got this amazing cricket bat. I was going to jump in and say we want to show everybody the cricket bat. Realistically, we'd be better off to show them this cricket bat that was all dinged up and marked and smashed up because we've been hitting balls over the fence. But our
Yeah,
cricket bat, we want to keep it pristine. I think a lot of people want to keep their, they think if they meditate, they don't get it perfect. There's something wrong and it was time wasted, and
yeah, yeah,
not prepared to kind of get a dinged up cricket bat.
yeah. People, a lot of us, we cocoon ourselves. We want to hide and try and protect ourselves from life, and then we end
Yeah.
up being lonely and isolated and only living life half fully.
Yeah.
And I think um, the scars that we carry physically, emotionally, they contribute to our wisdom. They're part of it. They're part of the growth of our soul. And so
Mm.
getting out there and taking a few falls is part of learning, isn't it? And part of growing as a soul, really.
Yes, and if you use your analogy with the running, part of part of running unconsciously, it has to hurt enough to make you look somewhere else.
Yeah,
If it hadn't hurt as much as it did,
yeah,
if you weren't wearing out a pair of runners every couple of weeks,
yeah,
if it didn't cost a fortune and hurt as much, then maybe you'd have kept doing it.
yeah. So yeah, the pain is a great wake up call, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
say pain stands for pay attention inside now. So
Oh,
pain is
cool.
life calling us. Pain is a message that we're getting feedback from life that something needs to change. And so if
Uh,
anybody's watching this, and you're suffering from anxiety or stress or physical pain, even, it's your body and life talking back to us to say, hey, there's something here that needs to change. It's an
cool.
opportunity for growth.
Mate, let's dive in there because I really want for the people that I know to benefit from your wisdom. So, that pain that we're talking about, it's extreme when we talk about running 200 kilometers a week. But what I see every day of the week is people who are experiencing low level pain just because of life. They're just trying to fit so much in, they're busy, and they might be what you call stressed. I know that if we talk about it as stress, people go, oh, I'm not so stressed or whatever. But the reality is it's low level pain, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the problem with stress and anxiety and physical pain as well, and situations, relationship issues that are not working for us, is often they come on so slowly and they build up inside that we don't
Mm,
even notice that we're suffering,
yeah.
and often it's not until we let it go, we heal it, that suddenly we feel so much lighter and freer. Yeah, like
Yes.
even people I've seen who have had back issues and then they have an operation or something and they're cleared, and they'll go, "Oh, just didn't realize how much that pain was draining me."
Yeah. Yes. How did I put up with it? It's kind of like, whoa, I didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
How did I get through with all of that?
Yeah, so I think a really big key is practicing recognizing when we're stressed, when we're in pain, and things like not sleeping properly, being agitated, grumpy, impatient, irritable, relationship conflicts is a big one. I do a lot of
Uh-huh.
couples coaching and people having outbursts and fights with each other. They're often
Yeah.
symptoms of being stressed or having some pain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think it builds up and we slowly get used to it. I like talking to my clients about, we now have background stress at a level that's higher than any other generation on the planet.
Yeah,
By the time we expect ourselves to commute to work, do 8 to 10 hours, commute back, try and be a good parent, try and eat healthy, try and get some exercise. You just, you try and fit a 48-hour day into 24. Of course, we end up the
Yeah,
way that you described.
yeah. And I was just coaching a couple last week. Um, they're renovating a house. She was in a car accident with her child who wasn't then sleeping. So then the child's in their bed, so neither of them are sleeping. None of the parents are sleeping, and
Yeah.
the guy's got serious challenges at work, high demands, long hours, and they've got financial issues with have to refinance because of the renovation. And it's like all this stuff is going on. They come to see me for couples coaching, but there's like all this load in the
Yep.
back, and that those background stressors,
Yeah.
bring out the worst in us, and I think it's really helpful to like acknowledge those, because if we can just in a relationship, or even with ourselves, if you're not in a relationship, if I can go look at all this stuff that's going on at this moment, maybe it's reasonable that I'm a bit on edge or stressed, and just
Mm.
recognizing that actually helps us to relax, and then a bit more compassion and kindness comes out in us in that situation.
Yeah, because we tend to want to soldier on. And, in that couple you're describing, I can see that really they probably wouldn't have relationship problems if they didn't have so much on.
Yeah.
But what's happening is the stress is built up to the point where the only person, that they're safe with to let it out happens to be their partner. It's kind of
Yeah.
like it'd be better off if you blew a bit of steam at work, but of course, that might be job threatening, which
Yeah.
threatens the whole financial structure, which blah 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 blah. Which means that we're quite often at the worst with the people that we love the most, who need us to
Mm,
be at our best
mm,
the most. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's
is there
why,
is
we
there a
do the
trick to
breath
that?
work. Well, the first trick, like, is just self-awareness. It's being aware of, like, right now I'm a bit on edge and I'm a bit stressed, because when I'm unaware of that, I just act it out compulsively, automatically.
Uh-huh.
I just get angry, and
Yeah.
I think it's the kids, the way they slam the door or something like that. But if I realize, hey, I'm a bit uptight now, I'm under a bit of pressure and stuff like that, then I can like go, yeah, this is my stuff. It's not everybody else's stuff. And then I start to
Uh-huh.
manage myself a lot better.
So do we summarize that by saying take responsibility? Is that a different subject?
No, I think that's the second step. The first step is become aware that I'm actually stressed. So self-awareness
Uh-huh.
is the first level, and that
Yeah.
leads naturally then into taking responsibility, because I realize I'm actually under pressure in myself, I'm
Uh-huh.
struggling a bit inside. And so
Yeah.
instead of blaming everybody else for me being uptight, it's like, I've got a lot on. It's like the juggler juggling the 8 balls. They're all in the air, and somebody
Yes.
comes in and says hi, and then I drop a ball, and it looks like it's their fault. And it's like, no, with self-awareness, we realize, hey, I've got 8 balls in the air at the moment, and it's a bit of a perfect storm building here. Something's
Yes.
going to
Yeah.
pop, and
Okay.
then we
Yeah.
can take responsibility. So self-awareness is huge,